Every legacy is different, but every legacy can be great. My dream was to leave a mark in bodybuilding, to become a champion who would always be remembered. It took sweat, it took sacrifice and pain, but ultimately it led to triumph. Your dream may be different, but I can show you the blueprint to a physique that you never thought was possible. I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger. I created my legacy. It's time to leave yours.
The biggest name in competitive bodybuilding is Arnold Schwarzenegger, the current and defending champion of Mr. Olympia. 28 years old, 6'2", 240 pounds. Arnold has held the title for the past 5 consecutive years, in addition to being Mr. Universe 5 times for the world.
The most important thing is that you have a vision, that you have a goal. To have that vision that I want to be the greatest bodybuilder of all time, you have to have a goal. Now, it doesn't have to be that specific goal, but it has to have some goal. This is why I always recommend to people, sit down, take your time, and start thinking about, why do you want to work out? And then it can't be as crazy as it is. It could be, I want to impress girls. If that's your goal, so be it, but it motivates you. It could be that you're emulating a certain, bodybuilder. Have those pictures put all over the wall like I did when I was a kid. So that every day when I go to sleep, every day when I wake up, I look at those pictures and they motivate me. You need that motivation, and then therefore you have this kind of imprint in front of you all the time, and you know exactly what you're chasing. This is why I always smiled when I was in the gym. People always came up to me and says, why are you smiling? You're working out 5 hours a day. You're doing the same as the other guys, but the other guys have a sour face. They're pissed off that they have to do another rep or another set or something. I looked forward to. Why? Because I knew that every rep that I did and every set that I did and more weights that I lifted, I get one step closer to turning that vision into reality.
It's getting closer and closer. Incredible satisfaction.
I remember that when I weighed 245 pounds, and Bob Rafelson, the director of Stay Hungry, said to me that I'm interested in having you in a movie. And then he said, but I don't want you to weigh more than 210 pounds. So I said to him, well, it's funny you come to me and you want me to be in a movie, but I'm weighing 245, 246. But he demanded that. And he says, look, it's very simple. On the day we start shooting, he says, I'm going to put you on a scale. And if you don't make the 210, you're out. I worked on it. I started visualizing myself very clearly as a lean athlete, because that's the only way I could lose that weight and all of a sudden get interested in running more. Because up until that point, I ran like 3 miles after training or before training or whatever. But now all of a sudden it was 5 miles, 6 miles, 7 miles, 8 miles in order to lose the weight. And I did everything with high reps. And I was watching my diet, what I eat and all those kind of things. And the day before, with Bob Rafelson, he says, let's step on the scale. And I stepped on the scale and I weighed 209. So it just shows to you what is possible if you visualize exactly what you want to look like. So it can go one way, which is that you can lose weight and get trim and get slim and everything, get the abs out and all this, or you go the other way and you gain weight because you see yourself big and you see yourself as a winner of a Mr. Olympia or something like that.
I knew all along that it doesn't matter if I go down to 200 or to 160 pounds. Because if I make my mind up, it doesn't matter how much weight it is.
This is definitely the hardest part for people, is to stay on a diet. But do you believe it may be that the part of the reason why they can't stay on their diet is because their vision isn't in check or their why isn't right? I mean, because that all ties together. You said it didn't matter to you because you were eating what you needed to eat for your goal. But how do we tell them to kind of have that same mindset? So how can we help them be better when they're watching this and they're saying, as soon as I'm going to download the blueprint and I'm going to change and I'm going to transform myself?
Well, to me, is what are you more hungry for? Am I more hungry to be Mr. Olympia? Or am I more hungry to eat like everyone else out there and therefore look like everyone else? You know, to me, I was more hungry to win Mr. Olympia, and I was more hungry and more interested, more excited about the fact of becoming a champion and being ripped on stage and being cut and winning the trophy and all those kind of things, because I knew that if I would just, you know, have a temporary joy here and eat and cheat, I'm most likely not gonna make it. That someone else is gonna walk right by me and someone else is gonna grab that title. Because many times these competitions were very, very close. And I remember especially in 1980 where it was just 2 points. And you know, any mistake could have cost me the title. So this is not a mistake that I want to make. I want to be responsible, that I do everything that I can to be a winner.
Yeah, it's just coming. Fingers right across here. Yeah.
In my days, we were not as sophisticated when it comes to dieting, and we didn't have the food supplements that are available today with getting definition and, you know, cutting down and all those things. We had food supplements that were really good for gaining weight, but we didn't really have much available to lose weight. So to me, my way of really getting defined and getting kind of a really mature definition, rather than just dropping quickly 10 pounds or 15 pounds with a watermelon diet or something like that. So that's not the right way to go. So I always felt like if I do, instead of 20 sets, 30 sets, 35 sets a body part. So I went all out, especially before competition when I wanted to cut down. It was to pile on as many sets as possible. So yes, you were tired, but so what? You know, I never felt sorry for myself. Let me tell you that it all paid off. Well, for me, the most important thing always is to have a deadline. When I, for instance, had a competition, and let's say the competition was in the middle of September, and it was now beginning of summer, so there was no more time to screw around. So there was the time now to get going on a diet, to get going with the training, to not slack off at all, because there was a deadline there. The day of the competition, I had to be in the best shape possible. It was very important to pick that time and to say, this is when I have to be in top shape, and then to work towards that. But it's not just with the competition. It could also be that you say to yourself, the summer starts in June. I'm gonna go to the beach in June, and at that time, I want to be in great shape. So that creates an urgency that makes you really start training hard and taking it seriously. Because if you don't have a specific plan, then you wander around. I mean, you can have the best ship or the best plane in the world, but if you don't have a specific goal where you want to go and when you want to get there, you just drift around and you never get anywhere.
I feel the best right here in this area. Okay.
Outer head of the bicep.
Now don't freak out when you see this biceps. Okay, I know it's the best you ever seen, but
myself.
oh, please do
I
so.
don't let's concentrate.
Okay. Joe keeps saying we should concentrate, and I was concentrating to flex my biceps. I did concentrate.
Okay.
But the worst thing is that if you lose a competition or if you're not quite reaching your goal because you didn't do everything that you could do. And this is why I say to people, I said, you know, think about that twice, you know, before you grab something else. Stay on your diet, stay focused, and when you have that question, and if you're about to eat and cheat, think about what the goal is. And does this screw up now, or this need to having some fattening food, is this gonna help you? But the key thing again is have the clear vision. Because then you never go to the gym and you say, today I feel down a little bit, I don't know what it is all about, I don't know my life, I'm confused. No, because that means that you haven't even set up your training partner. The training partner was always responsible to challenge you at all times. So that was the thing. Kind of in a fun way, but I mean, there was challenge there so that you don't slack off, so you don't give yourself a break. Franco Colombo, who was my training partner, was responsible if I just blinked, that he said, well, let's pump up the day. The day I challenge you to a bench press competition. Let's see if you can beat a 180-pound little guy. Let's see, and he would know how to push the buttons, because that's what the responsibility of a training partner is. So whenever people say, how can you be successful in bodybuilding or in lifting or in sports or in this, that, I always believe 100% in a training partner. We had a habit of after we trained at Gold's Gym that we would go and all go and have lunch together. but we would watch each other. Yes, people would have steak and a hamburger patty and all this, but if someone had the bread with a hamburger patty, we would bust them right then and there. So we were helping each other. Again, this is the responsibility, I think, of a training partner, that you help each other, even though you may compete against each other.
You're known for being one of the most intense individuals in the gym. Did that fire just click on when you walked in the gym every day, or did it take a few sets to get to that point, or were you ready to rock as soon as you walked in the door?
Because I was so enthusiastic about achieving my vision and winning one championship after the next, there was always excitement and enthusiasm there. So when I went into the gym, I put my gym bag down and I immediately attacked the weights. Right away, warm-up set, then the next weight up, boom, boom, all the way to the top until you just can't do it. And supersetting, everything was always supersetting, and 3 pumped sets and 4 sets in a row, 5 sets in a row. So it changed them what exercise we did.
One of the things that you made popular was the supersets and tri-setting, and surprisingly enough, there's a lot of kids in the gym nowadays that don't even do those things. So what makes the difference in the workout when you add those variables? I mean, it makes the pump completely different, correct?
Well, it makes the pump completely different, but it also the muscle responds differently if you do a pushing exercise and a pulling exercise. Let's say, for instance, with bench press and with chin-ups. So it worked much better when we did a set of bench press, and immediately after that went to the chin-up bar and did a set of chin-ups. You get more definition and muscle separation by doing that. So it really worked well. And sometimes we even not just did a superset, but we did 3-4 sets. Because remember, the body doesn't really respond to the same thing over and over. Right? You got to always give it the extra punch. So I think supersets and triple sets and quadruple sets and all of those kind of things create that kind of extra fire in the muscle.
Talk about when somebody's training, what should they be thinking about when they're working that muscle, how they should be squeezing, and should they be paying more attention than they probably are?
I think the biggest mistake is that you go to the gym and you go through the motion, but you don't really have your mind inside the muscle. So when you do a bicep curl, I can't just stand there like this. Yeah, you can. I've seen the guys training with me also 4 hours a day, 5 hours a day. But they look like shit. And why did they look like shit? Is because they didn't concentrate. They did the same exercise, but they stood like this and then they looked sideways, kind of like they were bored. Because they didn't even know why they were training, that they were not inside the bicep. I tell you, you got to be inside the muscle. So this is the difference. So this is why when I see guys texting, they're not serious. This is Mickey Mouse stuff, you know? You train or you don't. You know, it's like in Germany we say, wenn schon, denn schon. If you do something, then do it. Go all out.
You don't think it has anything to do with the mind? Because I think if my mind is right and if I can meditate myself into a real good pump, I get it. And if my mind is flowing away somewhere else and, you know, on some other subject, then I just don't get a pump.
Everyone has a problem with time. But the day has 24 hours and we sleep 6. Now, I know there's some out there that say, whoa, I need 8. Well, I say just sleep a little faster. Because the bottom line is we have 24 hours are available, 6 hours of sleep, so you have 18 hours now available to your work, your family, your hobbies, and also to learn something new. Or you say, I'm gonna go and reshape my body. So you're gonna go and take this hour out of your schedule and say, I'm gonna train an hour every day. So this is, for most people, a huge challenge, but it is totally doable, I can tell them, because the kind of things that I did when I came to this country, I mean, I went to school, I was working in construction, I was working out my 5 hours a day, I was taking acting classes from 8 o'clock at night to 12 midnight, I was doing all of those things. I wanted to make sure that I don't waste 1 single hour. Don't give me this thing, I have a difficult time with the time and I don't have time for this and I don't have that. You have time, you make the time. When the President of the United States has time to work out, when the Pope has time to work out, then you have time to work out.
The goal is to have a perfect body, a perfect developed body. You have to go on forever.
Move to my house and you'll see one.
You have to go on forever.